Hi, I'm Judy Bingenheimer, and today's leadership quote comes from Brian Tracy. Become the kind of leader that people would follow voluntarily, even if you had no title or position.
The Leader Assistant podcast exists to encourage and challenge assistants to become confident, game-changing leader assistants.
Are you a strategic senior executive assistant thinking about what's next? Whether you're ready for a promotion or loving the job you're in, Nova Chief of Staff's certification course may be just the resource you're hungry for. With over 400 students across 20 countries and rave reviews, students graduate from Nova's hands-on, self-paced online course with the confidence, knowledge, and power to make the move to Chief of Staff for their executive. But don't take my word for it. Visit leaderassistant.com/Nova to find countless testimonials, the course syllabus, and lots of free resources to support you in your career journey. Hey friends, welcome to the Leader Assistant Podcast. It's episode 291, and I am your host, Jeremy Burrows. And today I'm speaking with Judy Bingenheimer. Judy is Executive Assistant to the CEO at MEC. And Judy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
What part of the world are you in?
I am in Jackson, Wisconsin, just outside of the Milwaukee area.
Awesome. Are you from that area?
I am. I'm born and raised Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Nice, nice. So do you like the cooler weather up there?
Not even a little bit. It's just something I've become accustomed to.
Nice, nice. How about hobbies or kids or pets? Anything about you personally?
I have all of those things. I have my husband. I have a 22-year-old daughter. I have my dog Jackson, who is spoiled rotten, and then along with the 22-year-old daughter. And then I'm very big into the country music scene, and then we also like to travel.
Awesome. Where do you like to travel to?
Anywhere I can get an adventure, I am okay with. I'm actually leaving tomorrow for Belgium, so I'm really excited for that.
Wow.
Yes,
That's a little bit of a trip.
I am terrified, but excited. I've never
Nice.
been on a flight that long, and I'm not a good flyer, so it should be interesting, but
How long is it?
8.5 hours.
Yeah, that's a long flight. That's a long flight.
Yeah.
I did. The longest one I think I've done is it was a 14 or 16-hour flight, and I think we got delayed 2 hours on the tarmac um, before it took off. So hopefully you have a better experience than I did.
Yeah, no, thank you.
All right, well, let's jump right in then. Tell us a little bit about your career and, namely, how did you end up becoming an assistant?
So I became an assistant. I had a child very young, and I was working at McDonald's, which I wanted to find something with a little bit more stable hours, something that where I didn't have to give up all of my weekends, and that had a career path to it. I had helped my family take care of my grandfather, and I was taking care of my daughter, so I didn't go the normal path of, high school then college. And so I had a friend who had an opening at his company, and the hiring manager took a chance on me. And she hired me to be the general assistant for a satellite building. And then I just worked my way up from there. I became a dedicated assistant, moved into an EA role. I've supported a numerous amount of roles, multiple executives. And then there's a little bit of imposter syndrome that kind of comes up because
Hmm.
everybody I worked with had a degree. And so I felt like I had to be 10 times smarter and work 10 times harder. I had an amazing career at FIS before I joined MEC. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we had a facility in Jacksonville, which was our headquarters, and I'm based in Wisconsin, and I knew I wasn't going to move, and all of the more advanced opportunities were in Jacksonville. And even though I really loved what I did and with the team I did it with, I wanted to push myself. I was getting comfortable, and if I'm too comfortable, then I'm not. I need to push myself because I feel like I need to be in a constant state of some sort of terror in order to feel like I've accomplished something. So a recruiting manager reached out to me from MEC, and the rest is kind of history where I started working with the CEO and the entire C-suite. Currently, I think it's 5 executives I support, including our CEO. And yeah, it's not the normal path probably, but if it was the normal path, I probably wouldn't have chosen it because I seem to like the ones that are a little bit more difficult.
Mm. So you were at FIS, is that right? For
Correct.
almost 16 years.
Yes.
What was it like trying to make that decision to move on?
It was one of the hardest decisions I think I've ever made. I worked with an incredible team of leaders. I had 3 leaders I supported before I left. I had built a network that was incredibly strong. I was kind of the go-to for a lot of people because I had been there so long and I had the tribal knowledge a little bit. And so it felt safe, but I also felt like I somebody was willing to take a chance on me 16 years ago. It's time for me to take a chance on myself. And
Mm.
so I made the jump, and I couldn't be more happy with where I ended up. I thought my team before was incredible, and they still are incredible people. I still keep in contact with them. My new team is just as phenomenal. I am able to support 5 executives, including the CEO, and they have been nothing short of amazing. And I couldn't be happier with the decision I made to go to MEC. I got very lucky.
Mm. That's great. So what's been your, I guess now you're in your 18th year or so of being an assistant, if I'm doing my
Gosh,
math
that seems
right.
so long, but yes.
Well, it's fun because I'm in my 18th year as well, being an assistant. So got the same timeline there on our career. But what's been your favorite part about the role? And even today, like what, gets you up in the morning and gets you excited about logging in?
It's the fact that no 2 days are ever the same. I don't know what I'm walking into. It's always an adventure. I don't have to worry about getting stuck in the mundane because I get to do all the things. I get to be
Hmm.
involved in everything, and it's just exciting. They laugh at me. There was one person joking about how I'm the cheerleader of the team, but it's true. It's just exciting, and we're at such a pivotal, critical, important time in the company where we're growing, and it's great. And to be a part of that and to be welcome in to be a part of that as well is just it's so exciting that I'm up every day at 4 a.m. ready to get in the office. And it takes a lot for me to get up at any time, let alone 4 a.m. But it's great.
Nice. And what's your least favorite part about the assistant role? And this could be just in general over your 17, 18-year career. But yeah, what's maybe one of the most challenging or frustrating parts about the role?
I think, and this is going to sound awful, but the actual administrative side of it, I am terrible at. I mean, I can schedule a million meetings, but stick me with expense reports, and I think it's because it's just doing the same thing over and over again. But yeah, expense report, I just did them today. So that's why I feel so strongly about it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of printers and I'm not a fan of expense
Oh gosh,
reports. Yeah,
printers are
I
definitely the worst.
I hear you on that one. So, um, awesome. Well, what is maybe one of your favorite um, productivity hacks or productivity tips that you've learned over the years that really keeps you moving forward on your task list?
I have to put reminders on the calendar. The number one lie I tell myself is I don't need to write that down. I'll remember it. But putting the reminders on the calendar really helps and blocking that time to get things done. I also love using OneNote. It's probably my favorite tool in the history of tools, minus with the exception of a pen and a paper, because sometimes just handwriting a list and checking things off is like the PB&J of the office world. It's just comforting.
Hmm. What's your OneNote? I'm not on a Microsoft environment, so what's your OneNote? Um, is there any OneNote practices or tips that you would share with people that are in the OneNote world?
I really like that you can import in the meeting details and do attendance that way. I also like that you can summarize your to-dos and it'll take you right back to the notebook that the to-do came from. So it allows, and you just have shortcuts in order to create the to-do. And it just makes it really easy to stay organized.
Hmm. Nice.
And you can tie it back to Outlook as well and have reminders on your calendar. So it's kind of the best of all the worlds.
It's like a never-ending loop of the note links to the task or whatever that which links to the calendar, which links to Outlook. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like it's like that.
That's actually their brand new tool, I believe, is called Loop, and it does exactly that. I
Oh,
just
that's
haven't
funny.
gotten into it yet.
That's funny. Awesome. So what is maybe one thing that you wish you would have known about the assistant role, 17 years ago as you just jumped right in?
I think it's to build your network. I think it's in the leader assistant, which I read. You had made the point that it is a very lonely role. And so it is so critical to build your network. And it's not that anybody intentionally excludes you. It's just, somebody had asked me, where do we fit on the org chart? Because we don't always, when it comes to especially the higher level org charts, we don't always make it on there. And so I had to explain to them that we're not in the boxes because we're the lines holding it all together.
Hmm.
But it can get very lonely. So building that network is so critical, which is part of why we started the Midwest Admin Connection because we didn't have anything in the Milwaukee area, which we learned at an event. So I'm trying to help bridge that gap and bring people together because it just was amazing. It's a weird feeling. You know everybody and you belong everywhere, but you also kind of sometimes feel like you don't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
So that was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, well said. So what's the kind of practically with Midwest admin, what are you all doing? Are you doing meetups? Or are you doing online, Zoom chats? What's the plan with that?
We're doing all of the above. So we have our first in-person meetup next month. We did a virtual meetup last month. I kind of took June as a quieter month. And then in August, we actually have a book club as well. So we started out with Leading Without Authority, and it was a very tough decision, but I felt like that laid down the groundwork, so if you are listening to in your Midwest Admin Connection person, you have already read The Leader Assistant because that is our next book.
Nice.
Because that kind of gives you the practical side of it. And it was a really tough decision which one to choose. And I'm not just trying to say that because I'm on your podcast, but it was such a phenomenal book. I've, and sharing those tips and tricks. So we are working on a website right now. Hopefully it'll be launched soon. And one of the big things is, so every Monday I post what are your challenges and opportunities on LinkedIn for everybody to kind of comment and chime in and give each other that support. And if you're not comfortable with it, my email address is out there, Judy@MidwestAdmin.com. Let's talk about it because sometimes all you need is a sounding board or I'm not sure if this is the right move or just listen to me yell for a minute. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
So we have that piece of it. Then we have our peaks and pits on Fridays. And then quarterly, we're going to do What's Your Why? Because a lot of us, I mean, obviously we like the paycheck, but it's not why we do this. to your point and your question on what gets you up in the morning, what motivates you and what makes you excited to do this job. And let's share it and let's talk about it.
Hmm.
And so through online chats and through online meetings and through in-person meetings, because I looked, we didn't have anything in Wisconsin. I went to, during admin week, they had the Admin Awards, which is a great program, hosted an event in the Milwaukee area. And we were all talking at our table about how we didn't have anything to bring each other together to really share those ideas and those thoughts and best practices. And there's a lot of great resources out there, but that face-to-face personal contact. And we're known for the Midwest nice, so we want that personal connection with folks. And so about 3 minutes after that conversation, I texted my husband and said, "Yep, this is what we're doing now, because if we don't have it, I want to have it." So, and that's kind of how I roll with things, is if we don't need it and I want it, I try to make it happen.
That's
So that
awesome.
is kind of the genesis behind the Midwest Admin Connection and what we offer. And even if you're not in the Midwest, we have virtual meetups and I will never turn anybody away.
Nice. Well, that's so awesome. And I always um, love hearing when more people, especially, in certain cities and areas that aren't as hot, if you will. Like, there's a lot of things going on in San Francisco. There's a lot of things going on in Chicago or New York, and it's always nice hearing, as a fellow Midwesterner, to hear about networks being put together in the middle of the country, in the flyover states.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for doing that. And I'll definitely share the link to Midwest Admin in the show notes at leaderassistant.com/291, leaderassistant.com/291. So Judy, thanks again for being on the show. What's maybe, speaking of networking, do you have any good icebreaker questions or networking tips for those listening who are like, you know what, you're right, I need to start networking, but I just need a little nudge.
I think the best thing and it's hard for me to get out of my shell, which is really hard to believe as I'm on a podcast talking about myself. But, just realizing that if you say something and it doesn't go well, the odds of you interacting with that person again, probably slim to none. And the odds of them remembering it 5 minutes later are even more slim. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. As far as icebreakers, I'm big into the music scene. So I was actually randomly thinking about this on my drive home today, is what is one song that, regardless of what you're doing and when you're hearing it or what you've got going on in your brain, you have to just jam out to? And I
Mhm.
think that not your theme song, but just that one song that gets you going. And it was because 9 to 5 was on by Dolly Parton. So that got me thinking about it, because that's mine.
Right.
And I just think it's a great icebreaker. And a lot of people connect through music. So it works.
Oh, nice. I love it. I love it. Well said. Well, Judy, thanks again for being on the show. Is there anything else you want to say to the assistants of the world before I let you go?
Um, no, just build your network. We juggle a lot, and just like anything, you need a strong foundation. I Whether it be at work or at home, I have a team that I can call on to support me, to help me support, whomever I need to. And if you don't have that and you need that, you can reach out on LinkedIn or email me at judy@midwestadminconnection.com, and we will, let's talk about it. If it's on your brain and you need somebody to vent it out to, or you need somebody to connect with, or you need somebody to help with networking opportunities in different groups, I'm here to help, and just reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Judy. And I just wanted to be a little bit honest with the listeners, because we've had a lot of technical difficulties trying to record this episode, and it's just one of the most frustrating things on both ends when you're having a fun conversation, things are going well, and then Zoom shuts down or the internet freezes. And so, thanks for being patient with all that today. And I'm glad we were able to at least get the conversation going for a while before it crashed again.
Yes, thank you.
Please review on Apple Podcasts. GoBulls.com